I'm tired of being a star. I want to implode. I want to collapse in on myself. I'm tired of being the light. But I don't want to be selfish. I don't want to just consume. I don't want to be a black hole. I want to be human again. How can I, though, when there is a universe expanding in my chest, finite space within me? I'm swelling, waiting to burst. What are the seams that hold me together, the roots that anchor me in place?
The moon lightens the dark night, stars scatter in the sky, drawing constellations, the sun embracing the moon during an eclipse. The moon enlightens by a blood red color. Both have a different meaning in great astrological signs and other civilizations. The moon looks bright and full tonight, meaning one thing. Tuli got up from the ground and walked to the town square. Every full moon, they pledged loyalty to the moon goddess and sun god, but there was a catch to this. A few days before the full moon, a sun and a moon were engraved onto two people by the moon goddess and sun god. These will symbolize unity between the both of them. They could be best friends or lovers, depends on how the relationship blossoms. Everyone was to wear white clothes, women wearing a white dress of their choice, and men wearing a white short and khaki white pants or shorts. Tuli was wearing a long white dress with puffy sleeves that tightened at the wrist. Tuli entered the Coliseum, walking to the steps, but stopped when she felt her inner wrist bone. She shook her head and continued up the stairs and took a available seat. The ceremony was to start in a few minutes. The burning continued to increase on Tuli's inner wrist. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're having a wonderful night under this full moon. We are blessed by the moon goddess for giving us light to see through the night. Little Rick smiled to the moon. As you know, when a full moon ends, a new moon is shown. During the new moon phase, the moon goddess and sun god picked two people to signify unity, and it seems they had picked two peculiar people.
Roughly after a month, they had successfully got to me many times when I had to leave my house, but they didn't ease up. They were just attacking me for pleasure now. They just wanted me gone. It made living here impossible. I finally accepted that I had lost. The bag over my head was ineffective, and the umbrella was now just a challenge. Defeated, I packed up all my belongings in boxes, and my buddies loaded everything up. I then walked around my empty house and braced myself for the grand exit. It wasn't until my friends witnessed me running to my truck to avoid being pecked that they finally understood why the move was completely necessary. The screaming from the crows orchestrated outside even after I was already inside the truck. I took one last look at the black crow I hated so much, and he looked back at me with his beady eyes. He won, and he knew it.
Within every being, a heart is beating, determining the fate of one's life. It begins, it ends, sometimes it even pauses, stutters. Like a crush, the butterflies arise, dancing to tunes, racing to beats. It meets a fork with many paths. Will it disappear? Will it become obsession? Or will it become a garden? Will this butterfly flying around stick around and make its mark? Landing on a flower, capturing the moment? An image of tranquility, if only you had the ability to land on this blossom, to capture the moment. Or will this butterfly wander into a forest of mystery, of uncertainty, of isolation, to nothingness? There's a beginning and an end. There's a flower and a butterfly. How one approaches another affects the fate of the other.
There once was a butterfly and a caterpillar that fell in love. The butterfly's name was Cecily, and the caterpillar's name was Ethan. Cecily loved to fly as far and as high as she could, especially on Sundays. Ethan was happy staying as a caterpillar. I am happy being a caterpillar. This is who I am, and I hope you respect the way I want to live my life, said Ethan. Every day during lunchtime, Cecily would fly to search nectar while Ethan would eat off any plant that was nearby. Cecily loved Ethan so much, but she started feeling lonely as she was the only one flying. She then gradually stopped flying and opted to start walking to stay by Ethan's side. They were happy next to each other. As days passed by, Cecily's wings started getting dirty with mud. More days passed by, and her wings slowly started to crumble as she and Ethan would walk into the narrowest of places. Ethan looked back at Cecily and asked, "What is wrong? Are you okay? Why aren't you flying anymore?" Cecily lowers her head and whispers, "Well, I have been feeling lonely during lunchtime. Sometimes I want to fly and explore more places that God has created, but I do not want to go without you." Ethan figured she was asking him to change, so he made it clear one more time. "Well, I am happy being a caterpillar. I hope you respect my decision of not wanting to be a butterfly because being a caterpillar is part of who I am." There, a long moment of silence as Cecily gathered her thoughts. "I am sorry for asking too much. I swear to keep accepting you for who you are." As years passed by, Cecily eventually lost her wings, but Ethan still recognized her. Along their journey, they encounter a ladybug who couldn't help but notice the difference between Cecily and Ethan. "What a peculiar couple," said the ladybug. "You are a caterpillar and you are..." Cecily answers confused, "I'm a butterfly." The ladybug looked at her in disbelief. "If you are a butterfly, then what happened to your wings? Why are you not flying? Aren't butterflies supposed to fly?" Cecily's words could barely come out. Her face started heating up suddenly. "Why is the question so difficult to answer?" Cecily asked herself. She then heard Ethan's voice echoing her name and snapped back to reality. "Are you okay?" said Ethan. Cecily nodded. Cecily looked up to the ladybug and explained. They crumbled along the way. Ladybug was ashamed for overstepping his bounds and apologized. "I am sorry I asked. I will go then." Ethan took a clear look at Cecily and asked one more time, "Are you sure you're okay?" Cecily nodded while looking down. She knew she wasn't. Her lips were starting to look white and dry. The broken pieces of her wings had been lost on the road, and she seemed to be skinnier than before. Ethan could not help feeling a sense of guilt and felt he had to do something to see that same smile she once had. The next morning, Ethan eagerly woke up Cecily. "Wake up! We're going to see the beautiful places that God has created for us." Cecily could barely believe her ears. "How can we see it? I cannot fly anymore." Ethan smirked. "You will see. Just close your eyes and follow me." And he held his hand out for her. They walked so far that Cecily could still not tell where they were anymore. "Okay, open your eyes," Ethan said. The bright light of the sun shined over her eyes. It was blinding. As her eyes adjusted, she realized she was upside down. "We're on a tree." The cool breeze was as refreshing as cool water running down the stream from the mountains. She could finally see the green fields and the clear blue sky that the grass kept covering. From then on, Ethan and Cecily started a journey to climb on a tree every Sunday morning. As Ethan comfortably ate his morning snack, he then looked for Cecily and observed quietly as she struggled to climb up a daisy. Her feet were worn out from all the walking. She could barely get a good grip to climb up. After several efforts, she gave up and settled on eating the lower leaves of a dandelion. Ethan wanted to help her climb, but he needed all his legs to climb up too. After much thought, Ethan came up with a solution, but decided to keep it from Cecily. "I will be gone for a long journey," Ethan said. "I'll be back though, so you could please wait for me." Cecily's heart sank, but Ethan seemed so excited that she could not say no. She felt sad, but she didn't want to upset him by saying no. So once again, quietly, she nodded and let him go. Many days and nights passed, and Cecily started to worry. Could he have been killed by a bird? Horrified by the idea, Cecily packed her things and got ready to head in the direction Ethan left to. Suddenly, she saw a big shadow over her. She looked up, and the shadow had wings. "I'm over here," said a voice from above. "Ethan!" exclaimed Cecily. His wings were long, wide, and orange, just like. "I wanted to surprise you and ask, could you fly with me?" said Ethan. Cecily's throat tightened up once again, so she just simply nodded. Ethan then embraced Cecily from behind and whispered, "I may not be able to turn back time, but let me have this chance to at least make a better future." From then on, they soared up to the sky and traveled to all the beautiful places that God created. The end.